Yeah? Okay. Take 2, because it was a little dark outside and it somehow got canceled. Anyways, so the video ended before you even got to hear our amazing stories. But yes, so Della here, again, we'll give you a recap, is here to kind of share some of these awesome stories that people don't always get to experience with me. But a lot of people get to hear these stories about what I share, but they don't really get to experience it hands-on. So,
luckily,
I made her, in repayment, I made her my espresso, my little caramel macchiato, as payment for what has happened the last few days. So anyways, the first event that occurred, which I thought would be the worst of it all, was when I took her to the 99-cent store, which is fabulous. 99-cent store rocks. And she found loads of amazing things. But while we found the jackpot, the baby was getting a little fussy. So I was like, oh, let me just put the baby down. So we put the baby down. We're like on the floor, digging through bags to purchase. And hold on, so. Okay, I'll put her down. And while we're doing this, we see a pile of green stuff on the floor. And I immediately am like, the baby just pooped all over the aisle.
No. I'm like, it's green. No, this isn't poop. This is green.
And I'm like, no, this is poop. This is green poop. Yes, that is my child crying in the background. But anyways, dear goodness. Yeah, so there's green poop on the floor, and she's like, there's no way that's poop. I'm like, dude, that's totally my kid's poop.
And there was a lot.
Oh, like a lot. Like a lot. So I'm like digging through my bag, and I have like, so calm down. And I have about 10 spare clothes for Sophia and none for the baby. Like none for the baby. So now I'm getting a little panicky, and then I realize that the wipes are still in my car. So I'm super panicky. Della starts like running out, and I was like, Della, just stop. I grab wipes off the shelf, and I grab an outfit from the dollar store, and I literally start changing my child on the aisle floor, okay? Like, this is what's happening. There's green poop, and I'm trying to contain and clean as fast as possible as people are walking by me. And I'm like, Della, you need to tell the worker that I'm not stealing. I just literally need to clean this up. So, poor Della is holding the baby up as I'm stripping her down and trying to change the crap that has literally exploded on this aisle. But luckily we were on the baby aisle, so there was wipes and an outfit that I could grab quickly. But anyway, so I thought that was the worst. I was like, wow, you're one of the few that got to experience one of my poop stories. Someone else, yeah, this babe right here. Someone else got to experience the poop story of Sophia putting poop in Legos and building a castle with it. You know, so very few friends have got to experience this awesomeness. But
That's not the only poop story.
it didn't end. It did not end. So the next day, Della, being a sweet friend that she is, went to take the kids to the park, and Andrew and I quickly ran to the bank. Right? You think this is great. 2 minutes of her arriving to the park, somebody, not the baby this time, Sophia, pooped at the park. And I jokingly said, you should take a picture, Della. And she sends me this photo.
Okay.
Yeah, she sends me a photo. And I'm laughing. I'm like, man, what animal's poop did she take a picture of? That is massive. She wasn't kidding. And it was actually my child's poop that she took a picture of on the floor at the park. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. So then I'm like, okay, that should be fine. The next picture comes in. The kids are just drawing at the park. It looks picture perfect. I'm like, man, she is amazing. Rocking this thing. And then I get a phone call. And a child of mine may have lost his cool. Like a lot. Like a lot. So then we're over the phone and we're sitting at the bank privately with somebody. And they're like asking us these financial questions. And I'm like, Andrew, and you need to talk to your son. You need to talk to your son. Something has gone awry. So I hand the phone over. Andrew's trying to talk. The lady's asking me questions like I have any clue about finance stuff. I'm like, I don't know. The business might make that much money. Maybe, I don't know. I'm like, Andrew, you gotta get off the phone because I don't know what I'm doing. So then we think all is well. And I get another message. Sophia has fallen you need to come get us. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, anything bad that can happen within like 20, 30 minutes has completely happened to poor Della, right? So she's had poop, she's had a kid like lose his cool, and now one has fallen.
Disclaimer, I'm usually a pretty good babysitter.
She's amazing. She really is amazing.
This is not normal for me.
But when she says fallen, it is like she ripped Micah's shirt off and is like clotting Sophia's blood because she fell and hit her head, right? So it's not just like, oh, Sophia fell. It's like, Sophia is bleeding profusely from the head. You should probably come get us. Like, so I'm like, oh my goodness. So I leave Andrew, I go pick up Della, and she actually looked like she had it together, I'm not gonna lie. But there it was, Sophia, with a gash in the back of her head, and you can hardly see it because her hair is just covering it. But then when I like peel it back through the dry blood, I'm like, oh dear, like what do I do with this? So anyways.
But at this point, Sophia's laughing. She's like, I'm good.
Sophia looks fine, like no big deal at all. So I'm like, well, what do I do? Do I take her in? Do I do something? So we stop at just like an urgent care, and I, you know, quickly was just like, hey, can I come here for this? And they were like, no, you need to go to the emergency room. Like, they wouldn't even entertain looking at her. So I'm like, fine, fine, fine. So we go to the emergency room. Like, we had plans, okay? I was a little bummed out. We had some good plans going on for that night. They were detoured. But anyways, so we go to the hospital. And it's a super duper long wait. Luckily, I have some amazing friends, and the wait was not so long. But, anyways, we get there, and they're like, she's gonna need staples in her head. And I'm like, this, great. Like, why is Andrew not here? Like, I don't know, but I don't really think I want to watch this. Like, stapling it in head, like, those are two words to me that should not be in the same sentence. And I'm looking at her, and she doesn't really do good with like needles or blood or like anything. So I'm like, guys, what are we gonna do for this like support? So then we get called back, and the doctor kind of looks at us and is like, I think it's gonna be better if we do not numb her. I'm like, oh my dear. So now we're not numbing her, and we're putting staples in her head. Like, this is great. But I actually heard that numbing can be worse, so we chose to just staple without numbing. And yeah, so there she was. We just let her watch Captain Underpants, and she got some staples in her head, and she took it like a champ. She cried for maybe 2 minutes, and we were done. Now, I want to say she learned her lesson, but immediately afterwards, she started jumping off of chairs and beds and anything else you could possibly jump off of. And so I have to say, Sophia's 3 months of always going to the emergency room seems to not have ended, and we are continuing it. But yeah, so my poor friend has had to go through like every bodily function between poop and blood. I'm pretty sure she spit up on her. I mean, like, we are covering the gamut of what has been going on in this household. So anyways, we tried to make it up to her, and we went,
You think it's just for videos? No.
It's not for videos. This is my life, you guys. Like, I don't just, like, tell my children to poop places. Like, this just happened naturally, and she was in the crossfires, and it occurred. So
I'm leaving now.
She's trying to go back to England. That's how bad it was. She was like, I will take my million-hour flight home, and I'm out of here. So, you guys, come on. I mean, anybody else? Anyone else? There has to be another crazy parent out there like me. I mean, anyone? Anyone else out there? But yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on. And then we took her to, you know, Antelope Canyon and Sedona. Like, we took her to some really great places to kind of like be like, I'm really sorry. My children are crazy. And I'm glad you're surviving. And I say all of this to tell you that I'm pretty sure Andrew and I have now become walking birth control for people. Because she is single with no children.
And I'm good.
I don't think she wants them anymore. She doesn't want children anymore, you guys. What are we doing to the world? I'm just kidding. Anyways, well, I hope you guys are having an awesome start to your weekend. And it is way smoother than the last couple days that we've had. But yeah. All right. Taste espresso time is over. Have to like end it, boo.